Hey family, this is another episode of the Blemish Beauty Podcast, and I am your host, Shara Renee. If this is your first time listening in, I want to thank you for tuning in, and I pray that you hear something worth holding on to. For those of you who are joining me again, welcome back. The goal of this podcast is to erase the norm and embrace the truth. We all hide behind some kind of mask. So in this space, I want you to feel free to own your scars and see the beauty within. I am a Christian influencer, a mom, an entrepreneur, a content creator, and Jesus Christ is my source in all things. And I believe that with Him, anything is possible. So with that being said, let's jump into today's episode. In this throwback episode, I was still in shock from the car accident. Still trying to navigate my new normal and sharing with you some of the insight that I had since I had more time to reflect on things while riding the bus. After my whirlwind of a car accident and adapting to my new normal, I took a moment to reflect on the people that I had in my life. When I went through something, I would immediately go to people, and most of them would give me advice based off of their opinion, which was mostly biased. So instead of consulting God for instruction, I would take that advice and later suffer consequences that put me into scenarios I probably could have avoided. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with talking to someone about things you go through, but the issue was I was going to people who weren't equipped to handle what I was going through. When you seek advice from people who are not trained to handle your problems, you end up putting yourself at a disadvantage. And that could have you facing consequences based off of that choice. While those people who gave you that advice are home happy and sleeping well at night. Most times, when we are venting out our frustration to these people, is due to anxiety or worry, which causes distress. But the best way to handle stress is through prayer and meditation. 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast all your cares, anxiety, burdens on Him because He cares for us. So when was the last time you did that? How many of you take all your problems, cares, and concerns to God and allow Him to fix it? The reason why we are told to do this is because God is the only person we can come to that won't harbor any feelings or give us biased opinions that will cause us harm or danger. Think about this. Have you ever had a friend or family member come to you and tell you something while they were frustrated at a spouse, and that caused you to dislike that individual? But after y'all had a conversation, that friend or family member stayed with that individual, and now when they bring them around you, your whole mood changes because of what you know? This is why we should never consult with or confide in others more than we confide in God. Whenever you watch the TV show and you see someone getting arrested, they always say, you have the right to remain silent. The word right means you are morally and legally entitled to have or obtain something or act in a certain way. You can choose to remain quiet until someone who is professionally trained to speak on your behalf is present. This, in most cases, is a lawyer. Sometimes we have to keep quiet and let the lawyer of our lives speak for us, and that's God. That situation we get frustrated about is nothing God can't handle. So next time, instead of going to an outside source, go to God in prayer and watch Him turn it around. Now, most of y'all know me, but for those of you who don't, one of my favorite artists of all time is Bobby Brown. And one of his famous songs is called My Prerogative. Now, if you know me personally, you know my love runs deep for R&B, especially 90s R&B. But this song in particular is all about him living his life on his terms. And that word prerogative means you have a right or a privilege towards something. And it is your prerogative or privilege to live the life God has for you. You have the God-given right to walk in your purpose and live your life unapologetically. So, here is your beauty mark for the week. Keep your moves silent until God shows up and makes it happen. Live your life, mind your business, and keep your mouth shut. Let God fight your battles. Everything is not for public record, and as long as your lawyer, who is God, is present, you don't have to say a word, and you will always win. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Blemish Beauty Podcast, and I need you to remember, you are graced and gifted for a time such as this. You are not here by accident. You have purpose in this world, and you have been created to do great and amazing things. Make sure you connect with me on Instagram and on Facebook at the Blemish Beauty Podcast, and follow me on TikTok at SharaRenee510. Until next time, spread love, show grace, and shine bright.